Hey everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Artisan Pirate here, and in today's Fun Scroll Saw project video, we are going to be doing our St. Patrick's Day project for 2025. I always look forward to St. Patrick's Day coming around each and every year because I associate St. Patrick's Day with the beginning of springtime. St. Patrick's Day is commonly associated with other things, as you guys well know, but I associate it again with the beginning of springtime. The days will get warmer, the days will get milder, the days will get longer, and nature and the trees and everything will start blossoming back into life from the winter time, and of course the birds will start returning to town and everything. So really cool. Always look forward to it and the warmer and milder days. The pattern we're going to be doing in today's video comes from an older issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing, spring 2022, issue 86 to be precise. It has the beautiful hot rod puzzle card there on the cover, and the article begins on page 22, and here you see a visual representation of the designs we're going to be doing. We done the Celtic cross in a previous Scroll Saw video a couple years ago, and today we're going to be doing the clover. I'll read the beginning of the article on page 22. It says, Celtic knot fretwork. Numerous twists and turns bring these Luck of the Irish designs to life by Mr. Clayton Myers, so thank you for the beautiful designs featured in the magazine. The full-size patterns follow on the following page, and there you see the cross again, and here you see the beautiful clover that we are going to be focusing on. I've already got the pattern photocopied to its full size on a piece of computer paper here, and it's ready to be attached to our material. Clovers are iconic fixtures of the St. Patrick's Day holiday as well as springtime. I know a lot of people will go in a field of clovers and try to find a lucky 4-leaf clover. Some people press those between books or laminate them and use them as bookmarks or display purposes and things like that for a bit of luck of the Irish flair. I've already got on my green in anticipation of St. Patrick's Day. I don't want to risk getting pinched or anything. The material we're going to be using in today's video is a beautiful piece of 1/2-inch oak that I have selected out of the scrap bin. Before we attach the pattern, we'll finish prepping the project. I'll get it sanded to a nice high grit and cut it to its final dimensions before heading over to the scroll saw after drilling the pilot holes. You have to be very careful with cutting out oak over on the scroll saw because it can be a very brittle material to work with, but if you take your time and let the blade do the work, as I always say, you can make some beautiful designs out of a piece of material that has some beautiful grain textures in it. Now it does have this little knot here, so when I'm prepping the pattern and the material and get it ready to attach, I'm going to be careful to try to avoid that knot, but if I cannot avoid it, I will be especially careful over here when we are doing the scrolling process. But really cool. I always love using oak. It makes beautiful designs. Again, it just can be brittle when cutting out intricate designs such as the Celtic knots in this beautiful Celtic clover design that we are about to be cutting out. And since we need to finish prepping the material and get the pattern ready, let's move the camera and do that now. And over here on the workbench, we're going to take the random orbit sander and sand up our piece of oak nice and smooth. And then we're going to attach our pattern with basic clear packing tape. Clear packing tape is all I'll use to attach the pattern for scrolling purposes. It does a great job of holding the pattern in place, and the clear packing tape can help lubricate the scroll saw blade and help reduce burn marks when cutting out harder material such as oak. Now we are over here at the drill press drilling out all of the pilot holes for internal cutting, and I'm using a larger than normal drill bit to drill out the pilot holes because I did not want none of the tiny drill bits I use to break off into the oak. And due to the interwoven nature of the Celtic knots in this design, there is several internal cuts, but once we get over to the scroll saw, we will take our time and get through them all. As always, I'll begin with some of the smaller internal cuts before proceeding to the larger internal cuts. And for all of the scrolling on this project, I'll be using a number 5 Ultra Reverse Tooth scroll saw blade, and it will cut through the material exceptionally well with minimal chip out. And keep in mind, as I said, this is oak and it's a little bit harder and denser than say pine or 1/4-inch material, so the cut is just a little bit slower than normal. But I will just go through here and get all of these small internal cuts done. I always look forward to St. Patrick's Day coming around each and every year because for me it represents the beginning of springtime and the approach of warmer and milder days And in my area in Burlington, North Carolina, the trees and the plants are starting to bud back out. Now we have switched to a closer view, and you can see me working on some of those smaller internal cuts. And this project does have a few of those sharp V-turns, and you guys know how I achieve those over at the scroll saw. I'll go into one side of the V and I'll back the scroll saw blade out while it is still running, and then I'll go into the other side of the V and I'll taper the V point down to as fine a V point as the pattern calls for. If you guys would like to try this design, it's available in an older issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing, and I'll show that magazine once again at the end of the video. The magazine offered 2 Celtic designs, a Celtic cross that we did in a previous Scroll Saw project video a couple years ago, and I believe I also cut that Celtic cross design out of oak, and the Celtic Clover we are cutting out here in today's video. But I just had on some good music and I was lost in my world of sawdust and anticipating the springtime. We are working on the final 2 internal cuts, and then all of the internal cutting will be done, and it'll be time to release the piece from the waste wood. And due to the interwoven knot nature of the project here, some of the internal cuts are very fragile once they are completed. So I'm doing what I always do, and I'm taking my time and letting the blade do the work, and I'm being as loyal as I can be to the cut line. We are now doing that long final outside perimeter cut line to release the piece from the waste wood, and then all of the scroll saw work will be complete. And if you guys like what you're seeing, I would highly encourage you guys to subscribe to my channel and also follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. I'd really appreciate the support. But we are coming around this final side of the clover here. Clovers are so iconic for the St. Patrick's Day holiday and the springtime as well. But now that we've come back around, all of the scroll saw work has been completed, and we'll step over to the workbench and remove the pattern and remove the piece from the waste wood, and we have our finished design here that needs to be sanded, and I'll sand everything nice and smooth with a vibrating palm sander with 180 grit Klingspor Woodworking Shop sandpaper in it. I always use a vibrating palm sander to sand the scroll saw work after it's completed. It's very good for those delicate pieces. But after everything is sanded and all of that excess sawdust is cleaned up and blown out, it'll be time for finishing. And I finished the project with several coats of Rust-Oleum clear gloss, and it really made that oak grain texture pop and stand out. And here we have the completed Celtic knot clover cut out completely over on the scroll saw, and it finished up beautifully with some nice, sharp, and crisp details in it, just in time for St. Patrick's Day 2025. Really beautiful design here from an older issue of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Chapel Publishing. Once again, I want to thank Mr. Clayton Myers for the amazing design in the magazine that I'll show you guys momentarily. But I'm really happy with how this project finished up. I've seen no need to add, once we finished all the scroll work and got it sanded up, to add any additional splash of color like a paint or a stain, because I love the natural grains and textures of the oak material once it is cut out and clear coated. And we finished it with just basic Rust-Oleum clear gloss, and you can see how it really made the grain and textures pop. And I was very careful on the piece where that knot was that I showed you at the beginning of the video, and I took my time and let the blade do the work, and everything came out nice and crisp. As you guys can tell, I'm rocking my green color today because I love St. Patrick's Day. I love looking forward to it each year that comes, because for me it represents the beginning of spring and the beginning of milder and longer days where we can get out and about and enjoy outdoor activities and it's not as bitterly cold. It took me around an hour to scroll everything out from start to finish. Again, the material is 1/2 inch oak, and oak is a little bit denser to cut over on the scroll saw as opposed to, say, maybe using pine or poplar material. So I did what I always do, and I took my time and I let the blade do the work, and I was as loyal as I possibly could be to the cut line, and I really love all the symmetry that came out in this clover design. Really, really beautiful. Again, clovers are iconic fixtures of the St. Patrick's Day holiday, and they go hand in hand with all the decor needs. Of course, there is several different finishing ways to do this project if you want to cut it out for yourself. If you want to cut it out of maybe thicker material, maybe 1 inch thick material, it could easily freestand on a shelf, desk, or countertop. Or if you wanted to cut it out of the 1/2 inch material like I have, maybe out of a lighter shade of material like, say, pine or poplar, you could of course go in with some green acrylic craft paint or spray paints and paint it for that nice St. Patrick's Day green flare that is commonly associated with the holiday and everything. But I also think this project lends itself to other uses. If you wanted to shrink the pattern down, you could make it into ornaments. If you had access to a laser engraver or know someone that owns one, you could again shrink the pattern down and batch out ornaments for St. Patrick's Day. If you wanted to stack cut several of these, maybe out of 1/8 or 1/4 inch thick material, you could of course add a nice green decorative backer board to it. So there's a lot of options and versatility with each and every scroll saw pattern that you come across. But I really love the beautiful designs here, and with it being made out of oak, it is so beautiful once that clear coat is done. You can see how all of the Celtic knots would interweave and interact with everything. I really love that design style. I know a lot of people will cut out a Celtic knot design out of, say, maybe some softer material and then go in with power carvers and carve everything to make it look like all the knots are dipping over and under each other for a 3D realistic look. That's also an option with this project here. But I'm very, very happy with how it finished up. Again, just in time for St. Patrick's Day 2025. Really, really beautiful design here. Of course, I know what St. Patrick's Day is associated with, you know, with the partying and everything. I've never associated it with that. I've always associated it with the approaching springtime, and we are right here at spring in 2025, my friends. So a really cool and beautiful design to cut out over on the scroll saw for a nice St. Patrick's Day flare. I'm going to once again show the magazine that the project is featured in. Spring 2022, issue 86 of Scroll Saw Woodworking and Crafts magazine by Fox Travel Publishing. And the article begins on page 22, and you see their visual representations of the projects. It looks like they cut the cross out of maybe oak, and then the clover that we done out of walnut, or they could have cut it out of lighter shade material and then, you know, stained it the appropriate colors. And then the full-size patterns for both the cross and the Celtic Clover are on the following page. So really cool magazines to always pick up and enjoy, and they're always packed with the full-size patterns additionally in the pattern pull-out section that is included with each and every magazine. But I hope you guys picked up a tip, trick, or tidbit along the way, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching me make this beautiful Celtic Clover for St. Patrick's Day 2025. That's about all for this one. I hope you enjoyed the video from start to finish. If it's your first time over here on the channel, hopefully you'll click that subscribe button and follow me across all my social media feeds under the Artisan Pirate name. As always, links to contact me as well as all my social media feeds will always be linked down in the description box below these videos. That's about all for this one. And remember guys, if I can make it or do it, so can you guys. I'm the Artisan Pirate. Take care. Happy and safe St. Patrick's Day 2025. Take care, and I'll see you guys real soon.